Ash, just what do you remember of this River Center meet last year? I'm not sure whether you got to compete or not, but different, but familiar. How's that feel?
River Center, so it just provides us a away environment that is at home. So it's a really awesome place for us to be able to, get outside of the four walls that we get to compete in here and just have a different environment and also one that's on podium. So it's a great opportunity for us to experience the away and also the podium at the same time, which is really awesome that we get to do that right before ICCs, which is, right down the road. So we're really excited to be in there. It also just, is a place where we get to adapt and learn what we need to do and what we need to, get better at going into SECs. So this will be a great trial run for that.
You kind of mentioned it being important to be on podium. Just as a gymnast, why is it important to get those practice reps in on a podium event before postseason starts?
Absolutely. So podium just, it adds a little bit of a different bounce to everything. Landings are a little bit different. The runs on certain events are different. I haven't been on podium for all four events in quite a few years, but from what I remember from what we've done this year, the bar landing definitely is something different than what we normally go on. It's a little bit firmer, and so we just have to get those reps in, learn how to adapt to that landing so that we can be our best, down the road.
Ashley, you scored a career high on Friday. What was that like for you?
It was awesome. I'm truly grateful to be, in an environment where I am supported and encouraged constantly to, reach my highest capabilities. A big thing I've been thinking about recently is just letting the littles add up to huge things. And my faith has been big in that too, just letting God work through me and being able to glorify him on that biggest stage. So being able to see that come through and have a career high on Friday was really awesome. I mean, that stick feeling is truly like nothing else. So it was great to experience that on Friday.
What kind of teammate has Haley Bryant been as far as an example as well as just a teammate?
It's really cool. Something that people don't really know is that I trained with her. Well, I didn't train, but I competed with her a lot in North Carolina. So I was competing against her as I was growing up and just getting to watch her from there be, the Haley Bryant of Everest Gymnastics and JO. That was, the NASIA qualifier, the first one of the year every year, who, would go and be excellent. And then to see her here and be able to just walk down the hallway and just knock on Haley Bryant's door is something that, not a whole lot of people get to experience. And so being able to form a relationship with her has been super awesome, getting to bond over, the North Carolina things that they don't have here, the Bojangles, cookout, that kind of stuff that we both enjoy has been super awesome. And just her approach to gymnastics is something that helps me center myself too at times and remember that, it's not that big of a deal overall. You can just, leave it at the door. Your approach really is just in those day-to-day things and letting your body take over whenever you're competing, which is something I'm still learning to do, but that she does so well. So it's really, really great to be surrounded by her.
When you're a specialist like yourself, I mean, people like Haley, everyone talks about her and Gaia and that sort of thing, but you have a role and you have a key role. Obviously, I'm sure you'd like to do more events, eventually, but how do you see your role? And you go out there and perform and that's it, like, oh, I'll do better on the next one or something like that. I mean, that's it, right?
Yeah, so as a specialist, it's a really special opportunity. Honestly, to go out there and to provide the team with a piece of the puzzle. I'm not doing everything out there on Friday nights, but I am doing everything in the gym. So it's really great to be able to push others too who are in lineups to be their best so that I'm also being my best in the gym and just, having that competitive atmosphere. I mean, Jay always talks about it, pushing each other in the gym so that on Friday nights that 6 that goes out there, we can have our full confidence that they are going to be the best that they can possibly be. And so being a specialist is just a piece of that puzzle, and it also helps me to contribute in little ways that can overall add to the big piece of just what we're doing here.
I'm always interested in hear how gymnasts get their start in the sport. Are there any other gymnasts in the family, other athletes? And can you ever remember a time not doing gymnastics? How young were you when you started?
So I am the sole gymnast in the family. I have 3 other siblings. None of them really found the joy that I do in the sport, so they're off doing other things now. But I found I liked to be crazy whenever I was little, and so my parents wanted me to be crazy in a safe place. So right around the time where I was like 5-ish, they decided to put me into gymnastics because they were sick of me doing vaults over our furniture. So I was ruining way too many things and putting holes in walls and handprints on the ceilings, and so they wanted to put me somewhere where that would be a safe environment to do so.
As the season winds down, you're coming into your junior year and you're going to become a veteran on this team. What does that mean for you as a leader or in a new role as you get older?
I think a big thing that's been resonating with me recently is, learning from those who have led before me, but also teaching those below me to also lead well. I don't think that, leadership is something that comes from a higher place. It can really come from anywhere in the team. And so I think it's important that we all have the, common goal in mind, and that whenever we're leading, that we want to lead from a place of love, and that we already do that here. We have a very family atmosphere, so it's easy to, hold each other accountable, whether it's a 6th year, a freshman, a sophomore, we're able to get in there and lead each other well. And so I don't think being an upperclassman is really going to change that for me. I think my approach is going to be the same, to just serve others well and just lead people in the direction where we all want to go. Thank you.
Now you see why I want to get some more faces up here in front of y'all, because you sometimes you don't know what you don't know in terms of what you're missing, and the quality of that individual right there is second to none. She sets, as much as we talk about the people that are in the score sheet all the time, she sets a pace too with her character and the way that she goes about her business. And as she mentioned, she's doing all 4 events in the gym, so she gets to do one event most of the time on a Friday night, but what you don't see is what's going on every day and the leadership she provides, and the just the quality of human being that she is too. So I'm glad she was able to get in front of y'all a little bit today.
Yeah, if we could just talk about the meet this weekend, and what did you kind of like last year, and what do you want to build upon from experiencing?
You talking about the one we're coming up?
Yeah.
Yeah, going downtown is great for us. It's as everybody has mentioned, and I get asked all over town, why are you doing that? Why do you do that? Well, for just as a reminder, we have to have so many of our scores that go into our NQS be away, and this is an opportunity for us to get one late in the season, not have it be a travel burden, so we can kind of be consistent with our rest patterns and everything that we're doing, without having to fly and come back in the middle of the night and disrupt anything like that. So it's a great opportunity for us to do it. I hope our fans will come out and get behind it. I know there's tickets available, and I know that Ticketmaster charges a little more than what we're used to paying in the PMAC, but nonetheless, it's going to be a great competition. It's on the podium. It gives a different perspective for both of our athletes and for fans. It's an opportunity to get a little up close. If you're a season ticket holder that's way up high in the stands in the PMAC, maybe you can get something down close, get a little more interaction with the team, and get your kids over there to see it. But it should be a good meet. It'll be a 4-way meet. There'll be 4 teams, and having Auburn and George Washington and TWU come in, it should be an exciting event for us. So it's our last away score before we go to SECs, and something that's important in terms of trying to protect and secure our postseason position in terms of seeding, et cetera. And so we need to go down there and have a great meet, and part of that hopefully will be a lot of our fans coming in there and giving us some of that energy they always do.
You guys scored a 197.950 at Florida, 198.325 here at home. Do you feel like not having that travel barrier will get you guys that 198 that you're looking for on the road, or?
Yeah, I don't know what the secret to that is. Again, you hear me de-emphasize scores. Sometimes scores are lies. Performance is truth. We know the quality of our performance when it's there, but scores don't always tell you the truth about things. So I think that the idea is for us to go get it. Yeah, we need a score. I mean, obviously we want it. We've got to drop a 197.225. So certainly we would expect to do better than that. I think that we've shown a propensity to, with what we did at Florida and over the last 3 or 4 times here at home, that consistently various panels of judges have seen us at that 198 level. So I think it's a reasonable expectation, but it can't be the defining factor in terms of what we do. We really just got to keep the message the same, and it's really about where can we improve. And there's places we can improve from this weekend, no doubt. I thought, in many ways, I thought we performed better at Florida than we did this past weekend at home, and yet we scored a little higher. So it's not always the indicator, but it is something that we would like to do.
You were quite prophetic about pointing out how scoring works, that you had a better score than Cal, but you dropped behind them
Right.
in the national rankings,
Yeah.
which I think is probably hard for a lot of fans to wrap their head around. But it illustrates the point. What you need, I think a 197.8 would get you a 198 season average after this meet. So that's like I said, you don't emphasize scoring too much, but it is important in terms of national seeding.
Yeah.
And SECs will count as well, right?
Yeah, SECs
As a road meet for everyone?
counts
or?
as a road meet for everybody. Yeah, and so, it is one of the odd sort of nuances to our sport. But the reason is we were home and we already had we needed another road score to count. We had 3 198s at home already, so there wasn't going to be a whole lot of movement in terms of what we did, no matter how well we did. Whereas I think Cal was on the road, or maybe they were home too, but they needed they were dropping a lower score than we were dropping, and so they had a little more movement potential. I think this week we have a little more movement potential, given that we're trying to drop that 197.225 road score. So that'll take care of itself. It'll shake itself out as we go. Garrett's starting to look at potentially where we could wind up, but it's still a little early. There's still some movement that can happen, and Florida's really coming on strong now. They've built pretty consistently all year, and so anything can still move around and shift. But really, it's just about us staying focused on our performance level and doing everything we can to put ourselves in the best position possible.
Sierra got a chance to get back out on floor this week and scored a 9.9. What does that say about your depth in that event and on all of them? Honestly?
Yeah, and there's more behind her. That we, Liv's done a great job for us on floor, and Alexis Jeffrey can do a great job on floor. Cammie Hall's got a floor routine. We got some other floor routines that could go. It's just hard. Sometimes you get comfortable in this league when you need to be at your best almost all the time. It's hard to move too many things around at one time, but Sierra needed to get back out there, and that's why we did that. The meet was at hand. We knew what the score was going to be. Kaya probably could have used the rest, so you've seen me do things like that before. And Sierra had warmed up and was ready and needed to get one under her belt again because she had had a couple little miscues in the last couple times she had gone, and she kind of tweaked her ankle on that middle pass a little bit. She punched on her foot sideways, but we'll know better today, but I think she's going to be fine. But yeah, it definitely speaks to, it's a nice place to be when you can make a move like that, and the person you put out there opens up with a double layout and finishes with a double pike and performs as well as Sierra does. So I don't know many teams or if any that can put something that quality out there outside of their top 6.
You get to because it's a non-SEC meet, do you get to have exhibition gymnasts, or because there's so many teams, y'all just doing 6 per event?
We will, because it's not on television, we will probably run one exhibition on every event. I think it's up to the meet person who's running that meet. The guy that runs that meet runs a club meet in conjunction with it all weekend long. He's an LSU alum, and and he's allowing one exhibition per event, so there's a strong likelihood we'll take advantage of that.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned improvements. What do you want to see improved upon?
Well, I thought we showed a lot of them too. So one of the things we came out of Florida, feeling like we needed to reinforce some landing positions, not landings, but just kind of where arms go and being disciplined with a landing position, whether it's stuck or not was not the emphasis last week. We did a lot of drill work last week, and I thought that showed both on bars and on beam. I think we gave away little things here and there, mainly on our extra acro skills, the single skills that you see on beam that are the flipping single skills, like Haley does a standing front on beam and Connor does a side aerial. They all have a different kind of single skill acro. That seemed to be where the back four had their deductions on beam. So just making sure that we're dialed in how we get into those skills, because more times than not, if you're having a wobble landing one of those, it's how you're taking off. It goes back to where the skill began. So just addressing that in some fashion, and just making sure that that the technique is correct on that. We still need to get a little bit better consistency in landings on vault. We still got to improve that a little bit. I think vault's been a little bit of a bugaboo for a lot of teams this year for whatever reason in terms of consistency of landing. I mean, we're number 2 in the country on the event, so there's not a whole lot to complain about there. But it is something that we would like to see continue to improve. And so it's the same old story, man. There's really nothing new week to week. It's just continuing to iron out a lot of the same things and improve the consistency. If the idea is to get to a place where we're doing what we do in the gym when we compete, because when we're in the gym, that inter squad we ran Thursday was, it was as perfect as it comes. And then, you get in a different room and the equipment feels a little different and energy's a little different, and just little things start to happen. More of it's mental. It's continuing to create a consistent mindset and mental approach as we get into it. I beat that drum a lot, and you guys hear me say it a lot. But it really is. This sport is not going to be won or lost on some emotional rah-rah run through a brick wall kind of speech. You can't. That's not how this works. It's a lot more akin to golf or something where the mind has to be right and in the right place and be able to put yourself in that position of being confident and aggressive and truly believing what you're going to do and what the outcome's going to be. So those are the things that we really just have to work on. That was a long answer, but
You got good at the end, though. That was good.
oh yeah, you like that?
You landed it.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think
Thanks.
so.
Landed that plane.
Do you feel like the end is coming? Like, do you sense it?
The end?
Just of the regular season?
Oh, of the season. I
Sorry.
didn't know if you
I
meant the
didn't-
world
Yeah,
or
no, I didn't have a
my
sign.
life or what, dude. I didn't know where you were going with that. Do you feel like the end is coming? No, it's I don't know. No, it's still got a long way to go, man. I mean, we're if this goes the way it's supposed to, we got 2 more months of this. So, we got to. I don't really get too far ahead of myself. I tried just to stay on the next one, turn the page, learn what we can from every positive or less than positive experience, and turn the page and move on and try to get better. And then when the end comes, we'll know it. So we just keep plugging.
Kind of like Ashley said about Haley. Is it her ability to turn her mind off and let her body
Yeah.
take over?
I mean, she's better at it than anybody, and I think she just she has a very matter-of-fact way. Everybody says they want that, but then not everybody can do it in various environments, and she's just very like black and white about it. Like, I'm just gonna do my routine. There's no up or down in terms of what she feels a whole lot. She doesn't get. I don't know if she even gets nervous anymore. Really, she's just very. It's like doing rudimentary math to her. She can just get on the bike and start pedaling. Don't worry about whether there's training wheels or just, doesn't matter if she's done it the last 5 minutes or 5 months ago. She just has the same approach all the time.
32 out of 35 routines 990 or better for her this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what keeps striking me is the remarkable consistency.
Yeah, you go
Excellent.
back to last year too. I mean, it was 64 in a row with an average of 992 or better. Like
Yeah.
we keep saying the same things, and I don't know how many different ways to say it. Somebody asked me Friday night, is it get boring? I'm like, no, it's comfortable. It's comfortable. It's reassuring. She's very reassuring to all of us. I think she has a calming effect on everybody around her, because when you know she's at the tail end of those lineups that she's gonna deliver more times than not, it allows everyone else to kind of get into a mindset where they can be aggressive too.
Just if you would talk about the way these last 4 weeks of the season go. I mean, it's an enviable position to be in. Home, away 2 or 3 miles
Yeah.
away, home again, and then down the
Yeah.
road for your conference tournament, which I assume you might just be here and drive down for the meet. Come out, I don't know if y'all stay in New Orleans or not, but
We'll stay in New Orleans.
okay. But it's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
much of a challenge in terms of travel fatigue or anything like that. It's got to be very. Was it hard to make all this work out to get it this way? I mean,
No, it really wasn't. When I saw, it depends on the year, and the way this one worked out with our SEC schedule, it laid out very nice, where we were if you think about it, all year long, we've gone home 1 week away, home 1 week away, and that's ideal for a lot of reasons. One, you can get into a rhythm. Two, and we didn't have any Sunday meets or any kind of strange outliers that way. Two, it's good for your fan base. It allows them to get into a rhythm too. You're not asking them to come 2 Fridays or 3 Fridays in a row and kind of wearing them out with their weekend activities. So I don't think it's any coincidence that we've sold the last 2 out and been virtual sellout all year long. And part of that is that every other week kind of feel that people can get into. So I love it. And when I saw it lay out that way, I knew there was an opportunity for us to get that road score late by going downtown and really eliminating any travel fatigue at all. I don't know how much of an advantage it is, except that it feels like it's gonna allow us to be in a rested place, and certainly going to New Orleans, we'll have a great deal of our fans there, but it'll be a road score that's a true road environment for anybody. So I hope that it lends itself well to us resting. What it does do, Scott, in practical sense, is this week, next, and then leading into SECs, we get to treat them all like home meets, and our home meet sort of cadence is that we generally get 2 days off after competition. So from a physical and mental rest, I hope that it pays dividends. That's the goal.
Coming into the season, did you picture yourself having 2 freshmen that could give you 9.9s in multiple events?
Yeah, I mean, we knew that our freshmen were going to be strong. How much they would do, you never really know, because so much happens in the last 2 years of their club gymnastics in many cases. Really didn't know what Connor would be able to do this year, having been injured most of last year. Felt like Amari would be in a good place, although she had some injury and setbacks as well. So you can't really predict those things, but we certainly knew their talent was very, very high, and that if they felt good and were healthy, they were going to contribute in big ways. And I think we've obviously seen that.
I don't think we asked you the stuff that came out last week about LSU and the city, talking about what the work could be done to create a new venue. I just wonder if you had any thoughts on that, and if you're hearing much more than that, from your end.
My pay grade's not such that I'm too deep in the weeds on the details of that. But here's my hope in all of it, is that whatever we do, we've put ourselves in a situation where our competition arena, whether it's renovating the PMAC or building a new place, that it becomes the envy of the conference. It becomes a place that everybody wants to go, wants to compete. And I want I want to make sure that it's inclusive of not just one or two sports, but everybody that has need to be in that arena, that we all, you know, get good access to that and get to compete in it. So, you know, whether, you know, whatever the powers that be decide in terms of renovating the PMAC or partnering and doing something else, you know, I'm going to be on board with. I just want it to be a good situation for gymnastics and our fan base, because when we're averaging over 12,000 fans, it's important to us that they have a great experience. And so I just want them to be in the best environment possible.
There is some talk, not that anybody's said anything concrete, but new arena could possibly be a little smaller.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be too much smaller.
Well, there's an argument for going a little smaller. A lot of places do that because it creates two things. One, you can have more of the amenities and more of the sort of exclusive and luxury suites and club level type experiences for fan bases, which they enjoy. It also creates a sense of demand. We don't have a demand issue for us right now, and that's a good thing. But that doesn't mean that in years in the future that wouldn't be the case. So I wouldn't want it to be terribly small. But I feel like somewhere in that 10, 11,000 range is probably a good sweet spot. But that's just my own personal opinion. I don't really have any empirical data to base that on. I think that you want it to be big enough that it's accessible, but small enough that you create a demand. And trying to find that sweet spot, you know, can be different in different places. So I would think that the demographic here and the size of the greater Baton Rouge area would allow for a little larger arena than, say, if you were in, say, Auburn, you know, for example, I think Neville Arena seats 8 or 9. So I think certainly we can support a larger arena here, being a capital city and having so much more than just a college town. So I don't know. I'll let other people make that decision. If they ask my opinion, I'll give it. But beyond that, I don't really know any much. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of conversation about it. I know something's going to occur, and you know, when you're at this stage of things, though, and you really haven't seen, I haven't seen renderings, I haven't seen anything like that. I mean, I may not even be here. You know, I may have ridden off into the sunset by the time that comes to fruition. What I'm going to do in the meantime is just, when given opportunities, advocate for our needs if I'm asked, and for the needs of our sport and for our fan base, and then let the decisions be made by those that are responsible for ultimately what the financial picture looks like and everything like that. But yeah, there's a lot of conversation. I get asked around town. I'm really not in the know on a lot of the details, other than, you know, basically what I've shared with you so far.